Ohio. Tunisia, the state on far north of Africa. The population, following the results of a census of July 2017, makes 11,403,800 people, the territory minus 163,610 km. Takes the 82nd place in the world on population. The capital, Tunisia. A state language, Arab. Unitary state, presidential republic. Since October 23, 2019, the president of Tunisia is Kais Saied. In the administrative territorial relation, it is subdivided into 24 vilayets. In the north and the east it is washed by the Mediterranean Sea, in the west borders on Algeria, in the southeast on Libya. About a third of the territory of the country occupy east spurs of mountains, the Atlas. Other territory is covered with savannas and is generally desert. About 98% of the population practice Islam. The agrarian industrial country with dynamically developing economy. PDD volume at par of purchasing power for 2011 was $100.3 billion. About $9,500 per capita. Monetary unit, Tunisian dinar. In 1705, the independent state of Tunisia under the power from a dynasty Husainid, recognizing the Sultan only as the religious leader, was created. In 1881-1883, France imposed to Tunisia the protectorate, having involved them in structure of the colonial empire. The toponym Tunisia comes from the name of the largest city and the capital of the country. The city of Tunisia. The suburb of Carthage was known for several centuries BC. Concerning origin of an oikonym, Tunisia isn't present a consensus. According to E.M. Pospelev, the name comes from a name of the Phoenician deity Tanit, queens of the moon. The lowest point of Tunisia, Al Barsa, 17 m below sea level. And the highest, Shambi, 1544 m. On the area, it is the smallest country from Maghreb. Climate of Tunisia, subtropical Mediterranean in the north and along the coast, in the south and in internal areas, tropical desert. Average temperatures of January of +10 C in the north and +21 C in the south, July of +26 C in the north and +33 C in the south. Rainfall in a year drops out from 100 mm in the south up to 1500 mm in mountainous areas. Some desert regions don't win rainfall for many years, they contract at all. The summer heat on the coast is softened with a sea breeze, therefore subjectively it seems slightly more cool than is actually. In desert areas, frosts even in the spring and in the fall, though in the afternoon temperature during this period can reach +25. +27 C are frequent at night. The best time for visit of the country, September, November and March, June. The most ancient parking of primitive people in the territory of Tunisia are dated more than card years ago. The region of Calibi, the Cape of Bon. About 60-100 years BB at the end of Ice Age, the Sahara Desert was formed. About 4500 years BB in the south of Tunisia. The district of Gafsa. Capsiates Lodge. During the period between 1100 and 600 BB, Phoenicians founded Sousse, Utica and Bizerte. Carthage becomes the main town of Phoenicians in the north of Africa. Carthage is founded in 814 BB by colonists from the Phoenician city, the Shooting Gallery. After falling of Phoenician influence in the western Mediterranean, Carthage reallots to itself the former Phoenician colonies. By 3rd century BB it becomes the largest state in the west of the Mediterranean Sea, having subordinated the southern Spain, North Africa, Sicily, Sardinia, Corsica. After a series of wars against Rome lost the gains and it was destroyed in 146, his territory is turned into the Roman province Africa. Julius Caesar disposed to found colony on his place. It was based after his death. In the 44th year BB, near ruins of Phoenician Carthage, Romans founded the new city, having called it in honor of Julius Caesar Colonia Julia Carthago. He reached prosperity as the administrative center and port of area with rich agricultural production. This period of history of Carthage lasted nearly 750 years. After the partition of the Roman Empire, there was a capital of the kingdom of Vandals and Alan. 429-533 AD. Here. Then this area of North Africa was won by Byzantium, headed by the Emperor Justinian. Then Carthage became the capital of the Carthago Exarchate. In 697 the Byzantine Carthage fell under the pressure of Arabs. In 670 Arabs, the Just Caliphate, founded the first city in the territory of North Africa on the place of the Byzantine fortress, Kairouan, which became the center of trans-Saharan trade. In 1534, during expansion of the Ottoman Empire to Suleiman I's government, the commander-in-chief of the Turkish fleet Hayr ad-Din Barbarossa captured Tunis. However, a year later Tunisia was recaptured by the German Roman Emperor Charles V Habsburg. In 1568, being on service of the Ottoman Empire at Selim II, the Corsair pilot Ali Pasha directed from Algeria by land small army which captured Tunis at Hafsadov. In 1573 Juan Avstrisky with the Spanish help won Tunisia, but in 1574 Ottomans conquered Tunisia again. Tunisia was a part of the Ottoman Empire. However, already since the end of the 16th century the power of the Turkish Sultan became nominal here, operated actually independent use, founded in 1612 a dynasty Muradov. In 1705 the independent state of Tunisia under the power from a dynasty Husainidov, recognizing the Sultan only as the religious leader, was created. In 1881-1883 France imposed to Tunisia the protectorate, having involved them in structure of the colonial empire. The most known use: Hussein of Ben Ali. Since 1705. Ali beat 1759-1782. Hamuda Pasha 1782-1814. Ahmad 1837-1855. Muhammad E. Sadek 1881. Mansef 1942-1943. Muhammad A. Al-Amin 1943-1957. In 1957 the monarchy was liquidated. Since the beginning of the 1968 years in the country, the one-party mode of the Neo-Duster Party, renamed in 1964 into Social Democratic, was set de facto. In 1987 in the country there was the first Jasmine Revolution when the president of the country, Habib Bourguiba, who was stretch ruling within 30 years, was overthrown. He was prone to continuous rotation of administrators, and in the conditions of economic problems and rise in militant Islam was displaced by the Prime Minister Ben Ali with the consent of all key ministers and security agencies. Next year, the limited reforms directed to updates of the most odious decisions and trends of the period of government of Bourguiba were undertaken. The country leaders managed to carry out transition from a one-party system to formally multi-party, having avoided heavy consequences possible on such way, and without having lost reins of government. The country pursued westernized policy, fighting against growth of Islamic fundamentalism. In January 2011, disorders in Tunisia began. Is the main catalyst of a revolutionary situation in the country. The WikiLeaks website and its materials which caused discontent of the population acted on this resource dispatches of the American diplomats which showed a real situation of corruption in this republic were published. According to these documents, the president of the country of Zayn al-Abidin Ben Ali abused the situation. The power in the country was in hands of elite which turned into mafia clan. The American edition Foreign Policy even hurried to christen events in Tunisia of WikiLeaks Revolution, though later she received the official name, Jasmine Revolution. In spite of the fact that the authorities of the country limited access for citizens to the WikiLeaks website, information filtered through others the internet resources. Protest actions were organized through social networks. Twitter, Facebook and others. Besides, young activists published a set of videos in YouTube. Though access to this website was forbidden in the country in 2007. During this revolution of the power conducted active fight against the internet movement. Tried to close access from the outside to internal news, cleaned mailboxes and accounts of social networks, by means of hackers deleted the texts and photos concerning events in the country, arrested active bloggers. All these events evoked a wide response in society. The President Ben Ali fled the country on January 15, 2011. The emergency rule worked in the country from January 2011 to March 2014. On March 18, 2015 in Tunisia there was a terrorist attack as a result of which in the National Museum of Bardo more than 20 people were killed. On June 26, 2015 there was a terrorist attack in Sousse in the territory of Riu Imperial Marhaba Hotel, in the recreational district of Sousse Al-Kantabi. On the hotel territory from the beach the armed terrorist rushed and shot all welcomed hotel guests. 38 people died, 39 are wounded. In 2014 in the Republic of Tunisia transition to new constitutional and political system which began to develop after overthrow of authoritarian regime of the President Zayn al-Abidin Ben Ali in January 2011 came to the end. In January 2014 the National Constituent Assembly created in October 2011 following the results of the first free elections approved the new constitution of the country. The basic law guarantees observance of the civil rights, freedom of worship and establishes equality of men and women before the law. The new constitution of Tunisia was called one of the most progressive in the Arab world. In June 2014 the National Constituent Assembly made the decision on carrying out on October 26 elections to new parliament, the meeting of national representatives, and on November 23, the election of the President of the Republic. Since October 23, 2019 the position of the President is held by KZ. At presidential elections, I moved forward as the independent candidate. It was elected in the second round for a period of 5 years. From the moment of obtaining independence of France in 1956 till 1987, Habib Bourguiba was the permanent head of the country. In 1957 in the country the monarchy was liquidated. In 1987 the aged President Habib Bourguiba, the founder of the Tunisian state, on the existing constitution, the lifelong president, appointed the General Zain El Abidine Ben Ali, who before was already combining posts of the Minister of War and Minister of Internal Affairs, to a post of the Prime Minister. In 6 weeks, as a result of the bloodless palace coup which received the name Jasmine Revolution, by medical examination, aged Habib Bourguiba was recognized as incapable to fulfill the president's duties. The next 2 years, since 1987 on 1989, Zain El Abidine Ben Ali ruled the country from a premier chair, being the acting president, and in 1989 was elected the president. Detached Habib Bourguiba lived till 2000 and is buried in the hometown of Monastir, in the mausoleum which nowadays bears his name. In 2002 changes were made to the constitution of Tunisia. Under the pretext of fight against terrorism, the referendum on entering into the constitution of the amendments cancelling restriction of number of presidential terms 2 times in a row. An age limit 70 years for the candidate for president was held. On January 14, 2011, as a result of population protests, 74-year-old Zain El Abidine Ben Ali fled the country to Saudi Arabia, having delegated the president's powers to the Speaker of Parliament. Before he managed to impose state of emergency in the country, to dismiss the government and to announce fast early elections to parliament. The airspace of Tunisia was closed within a day. Next day practically all foreign tourists are taken out from the country quickly. The constitution adopted at the first president, 1959. Introduced a multi-party system, secular courts and civil norms of a family relationship. I cancelled polygamy. Women were granted electoral rights. Legally these norms work and until now. For a fact and evidence of presence of the second spouse, criminal penalty is prescribed. Under the Constitution, the President is elected for a period of 5 years. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet are appointed the President. In 2011, however, the President and the Prime Minister were elected by the Constituent Assembly. Heads of regions and local self-government institutions are appointed by the government. Local councils of municipal and district level are formed on an elective basis. Assembly of National Representatives, unicameral parliament in which there are 217 places. Deputies are elected for 5 years. The parliament is located in Bardo's Palace. In the neighboring building Bardo's Museum is located, which is in the city of Bardo near the capital. On October 23, 2011 there took place elections to the temporary Constituent Assembly. 89 places from 217 were received by the moderate Islamic Renaissance Party, the Congress for the Republic -29, the National Petition for Freedom, Justice and Development. Al-Arida -26. On October 26, 2014. The first took place after fall of the regime of the President Ben Ali and adoption of the new constitution. Elections to Assembly of National Representatives. Citizens of the country elected 217 deputies. The majority of places, 83, was received by the main secular party, Nida Tunisia, and the largest Islamic party, Ennahda, -68 places. On the elections which took place on October 6, 2019, the acting structure is elected. The majority of places received: 52, the Renaissance Party, Ennahda; 38, Heart of Tunisia; 22, the Democratic Movement; 21, the Coalition of Advantage. On November 13, 2019, Rashid Al-Ghannouchi is elected the chairman, Ennahda. The Democratic Constitutional Rally Party, DO, till 1988 the Socialist Dusterovsky Party, and still earlier, New Duster, was the only legal party within 25 years of existence of Tunisia as independent state. In 2011, on a wave of protests, the party was banned. The largest parties in the temporary Constituent Assembly, the Moderate Islamic Renaissance Party, the Secular Congress for the Republic, and the National Petition for Freedom, Justice and Development, Al-Arida. Tunisia is made by 24 vilayets led by Brindown, divided in turn into 264 Mutamadiata districts led by Mutamada. Mutamadiata are divided into 2073 Sheikhata, the area headed by sheikhs. Walia, heads of vilayets, are appointed the President of the Republic. Mutamada, heads of Mutamadiat, are appointed the Minister of Internal Affairs. Tunisia, the agrarian industrial country. The basis of the economy is made by agriculture. The second place in national income is taken by tourism, the third, light industry, generally textile. As to find polls, nearly 50% of the population carry themselves to the middle class. The minimum wage established by the state is 270 dinars. Slightly less than $130 a month. On export of olives and olive oil, Tunisia takes the 4th place in the world. In the country there are more than 50 million olive trees. Tunisia provides up to 10% of world production of olive oil. But other agricultural products Tunisia makes insufficiently and is forced to import food. Large-scale deposits of phosphorites develop the state companies. Oil production makes 5 million tons, it provides internal needs of the country and gives up to 40% of export revenue. The oil extracting industry of Tunisia is less developed in comparison with his neighbor, Algeria. The oil reserves proved in 2006 in Tunisia -308 million barrels. According to BP Statistical Energy Survey, Tunisia extracted on average 97600 barrels of crude oil a day in 2007. That 0.11% of world volume were, and this size changed for 40.1% in comparison with 2006. Long-time oil was the main source of export receipts of Tunisia. In 1999 in the country about 250,000 tons of crude oil were extracted. Since the end of the 1980s this role passed to textile products and food. The Ministry of the Industry regulates oil industry of Tunisia. The state oil company is 50 Enterprise Tunisia and deactivates Petrolières, ETAP, and Société Nationale de Distribution du Pétrole, SONDI, is National Marketing Distribution Company. In Tunisia, British Gas is the largest foreign investor. She possesses 100% of stocks in the gas production on the Mascar field, providing 80% of daily demand for this energy carrier in the country. In addition to the Mascar, Abape field has a 50% share and permission to investigation on offshore fields of Amilcar and Ulysses, where also state company ETAP works. The appraisal well of Hannibal -3 Preberini on the Amilcar field in 1997 found gas, however yet there is no permission to his production. The Mascar field gives more than 90% of all gas production. 335 million m in 1999. In the country 8 international airports, total number of airports 29. For 2013. The largest airports of the country. Enfida, Tunisia, Carthage, Monastir of Habib Bourguiba and others. Length of a railway system of the country managed by the Sense Company. Over 1900 km, from them with a width of track of 1435-473 km of and 1674 km with a width of track of 1000. The international freight transportation is made by the marine transport. Main ports of the country: Hokelud, Sfax, Bizerte, Sekira, Saas. The population is 10,982,489 inhabitants on a census of 2014. In recent years in Tunisia the birth rate sharply falls. In 2010 the total coefficient of birth rate is estimated at 1.71 children on the woman. It is the lowest indicator among the Arab countries. 98% of the population of the country Arabs. However, there is small 1% an ethnic minority of Berbers. Generally they live on the island of Cherba and in the areas of Matmata, Tadabin, Gafsa. The Berbers of Tunisia, presented by the tribe of Anefis, speak one of dialects of Berber language, often called Shauk. Also Circassians live in the country. Ap. 1.5%. Generally it is descendants of the Egyptian Mamelukes and Muajirs, immigrants from the Caucasus after the Caucasian War. 98% of the population Muslims, a small amount of Catholics. Also the Jewish community lives in Tunisia on the island of Cherba. Traditionally Muslims don't take alcohol, but in Tunisia the relation to this question more liberal. In the country also white dry wines are produced red, pink. In the city of Grombolia the wine festival is held every September. In Tunisia there is the only national beer brand, Celsia. It is possible to carry grey gris wine, Magan red wine, the date Thibarine liqueur and also Figbauka vodka to number of national popular alcoholic drinks of Tunisia. Holidays. On January 14, Day of Revolution. On March 20, the Independence Day. On March 21, the Youth Day. On April 9, Day of Remembrance of Martyrs. On May 1, a work holiday. On July 25, Day of Declaration of the Republic. On August 13, Day of Women. The state TV company, ET, Établissement de la télévision tunisienne, establishment of the Tunisian television. Includes television Tunisian 1 TV channels. It is started on May 31, 1966 as Art, since 1983 Art 1, the modern name, Television Tunisienne. And Television Tunisienne 2 is started on November 7, 1994. The state radio company, ERT. Établissement de la radio tunisienne, establishment of the Tunisian radio. Includes Radio Tunis radio stations. Is started on October 15, 1938. Radio Tunis Chaîne Internationale. Is started in 1960. Radio Junes. Is started on November 7, 1995. Radio Tunisia Culture. Is started on May 29, 2006. And a number of regional radio stations. Radio Sfax. Is started on December 8, 1961. Radio Monastir. Is started on August 3, 1977. Radio Gafsa. Is started on November 7, 1991. Radio Lakaf. Is started on November 7, 1991. Radio Tatouine. Is started on November 7, 1991. Et and ERT are created on August 31, 2007 by division of the state broadcasting company ERT. Établissement de la radiodiffusion télévision tunisienne, establishment of the Tunisian broadcasting and television. Created on October 15, 1938 as Radio Tunis since April 25, 1957 Art. Radiodiffusion télévision tunisienne, Tunisian broadcasting and television. Since May 7, 1990 carried the modern name. The operator of radio television, ANT. Control of compliance with laws about media exercises the highest independent control audiovisually communications, appointed by the President. Unlike the neighbors, Algeria and Libya, Tunisia possesses insignificant reserves of oil and, as a result, his financial opportunities are limited. Military expenses in the 90th made $350–400 million a year. On arms there is weapon and military equipment mainly of the Western production, and rather outdated. Number -35000 people. Including conscription services. Duration of conscription service -1 year. Appeal selective. Since 1994 the local sports club Golf Yasmin acts as the organizer of competitions of various level. So in 1994 in Tunisia Challenge Tour, and in 2001 World Shotgun and the Mediterranean Games was carried out. In 1994 and 2004 in Tunisia there took place final soccer tournaments of the Cup of the African Nations. In 2005 in Tunisia the Handball World Cup was held. Since 2006 the Golf Championship of Tunisia is regularly held. In 2009 in Tunisia there passed one of World Cup stages on rally raids, a rally raid of Libya de Tunisie. He was marked by a serious accident which the crew of the Russian racer, the pilot of the BMW Team X raid Noeski had on May 1. 311 km after start the athlete at a speed of 200 km/h crashed into a series of sandy signs. Leonid Novitsky and his navigator Oleg Chupenkin, having suffered serious injuries, by helicopter were brought to hospital. The race was stopped and the special stage was cancelled. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.